Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on the topic, breaking up is hard to do, how to recognize the signs. We all know that relationships can be intricate, often involving emotional, physical, and intellectual independence layers. Recognizing when this harmony dissipates is a crucial step in understanding the status of the relationship. This becomes especially important when a relationship reaches its natural conclusion. Today, I want to provide some insights into the various signs that indicate that a relationship is nearing its end. Because a lot of times couples are blindsided when it seems that suddenly a partner calls it quits. And the partner who's calling it quits often responds with something like, I thought this was coming. I haven't touched you in like 2 years. Or we have been living like strangers for some time now. I'm not understanding why you're so surprised. Yet someone is always surprised when a spouse asks for a divorce or moves out. So this episode's purpose is to bring to your awareness some signs that signify the end of a relationship. By gaining knowledge on these aspects, you'll be better prepared to handle difficult decisions about your future as far as your relationships are concerned. Now, one of the first things that goes in a relationship when it's coming to an end is communication. Communication forms the foundation for mutual understanding and growth in a healthy relationship. Both parties need to feel comfortable expressing their feelings, thoughts, and needs openly and honestly. Without open communication, misunderstandings may arise, leading to feelings of disconnect or dissatisfaction. Sharing your interests and respecting differences also play an integral role in solidifying the bond between partners. On the other hand, the balance between independence and interdependence is especially crucial. A healthy relationship encourages both individual growth while maintaining a shared life. Overdependence or neglect of personal growth can lead to suffocation, whereas excessive independence might make the relationship feel non-existent. I remember there's one time a friend of mine told me, oh, you know what? I know this married couple that they always take a vacation separately. They never go together. Now that's too much interdependence, right? Because what happens, your spouse might go into one of these vacations and come back with another partner. So you don't want to give them too much freedom. All right, so let's talk about the initial warning signs. When a relationship begins to sour, one of the earliest signs is a noticeable decrease in communication or conscious avoidance of certain topics. You may find your partner becoming less open about their feelings or thoughts. Arguments may become more frequent, often over small issues that usually would be insignificant. So you know something is going on. This stage is often characterized by the feeling of walking on eggshells. I remember telling my ex-husband one time that he had become prickly like a porcupine, like everything sets him off, right? So that's why he's not my ex-husband. You may be overly cautious about what to say or do to avoid conflicts. This constant state of anxiety indicates that the relationship dynamics are changing for the negative, right? So number 2, emotional and physical distance, I should say. One of the most noticeable signs is when the emotional connection between you and your partner weakens. You may find yourself sharing less about your individual lives, and conversations might seem superficial, like, how was your day? What's the weather like? Superficial, no depth. Moreover, there might be a noticeable reduction in affectionate behaviors and sexual intimacy, further amplifying the emotional gap. Remember when I said the spouse says, well, I haven't touched you in years. Hey, that is a sign, right? It's the number one indication that your relationship is ending when there's no physical touch or affection. A decrease in quality time spent together also points towards a growing distance. He's home, but he's in the basement or doing something on the computer, and you guys are never together. In the beginning of your relationship, you would cuddle up and watch TV, and then all of a sudden now he doesn't want anything, don't want any part of that. If your partner increasingly prefers to spend time alone or with others instead of you, it signifies a widening gap in your relationship. This distancing can lead to feelings of isolation and neglect. You feel abandoned. Common thing that happens in marriages. Lack of future vision. Planning a shared future is a critical aspect of any serious relationship. When these discussions start dwindling or your partner consistently avoids discussing plans, it may be a sign of trouble. It becomes particularly concerning if you notice a lack of mutual goals or plans that involve both of you. You're planning a vacation next year and he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Maybe he doesn't plan to be around next year. The absence of your significant other in your partner's future aspirations is another alarming sign. This is often a subtle sign, but can indicate a lack of a long-term commitment or a growing detachment. And you normally find that when you're dating. You can normally tell, right? It's a little harder when you're married because you're already in a commitment, right? So another one is increased individuality. It's almost the same as not spending quality time together. They're pretending that they're single, right? While maintaining individuality is crucial for a healthy relationship, an increased focus on personal activities and interests over shared ones could be a red flag. When you or your partner consistently prioritize personal time over shared moments, it might indicate growing individualism. Friends and family often notice the changes in a relationship before other people do. If your loved ones observe that you're spending less time together, it might be worth taking the observation seriously. It becomes more concerning if the preference for alone time over partner time becomes a pattern rather than an exception. People on social media would say to me, how come you're not posting about your husband? That's one of the things they're saying, hey, they're looking for that. You guys are not together doing things. Hey, yeah, that's usually a sign of something, right? Constant criticism and lack of appreciation. Ladies, when your man start criticizing everything, or men, when your woman start criticizing anything, everything you do, you might need to, make that awareness, the lamp go off in your head that maybe they don't love you anymore as they used to be, and they're harping on the negative. But constant criticism and lack of appreciation can create a hostile environment within a relationship. When complaints and criticism outnumber compliments and appreciation, it can build up negative feelings and resentments. The relationship begins to feel more like a battleground than a haven. Feelings like you can't do anything right is another major sign of an impending breakup. It can result in diminished self-esteem and overall feeling of inadequacy. This toxic dynamic harms not only your relationship, but also your well-being. Now, this is a big one. Feelings of relief in your partner's absence. Listen, there's no bigger sign when you feel better when they're not around. Hey, they're saying absence is supposed to make the heart grow fonder. But if your absence is making your heart feel lighter, that's a sign that you need to be aware of. Don't just let it slide by. Put it into your mental consciousness. Feeling happier or more relaxed when your partner is not around can be a glaring sign that something is amiss. This indicates that the relationship has become more stressful than comforting, and the partner's absence is perceived as a relief rather than a loss. Breakdown in trust and honesty is another big one. Trust forms the bedrock of any strong relationship. If you find that trust erodes in your relationship, it's a sign that things are not in the best shape. This lack of trust could manifest in various ways. You and your partner may start to lie, hide things, or become excessively suspicious of the other actions. In some cases, betrayal or infidelity could be the cause, but a breakdown in trust can also happen gradually over time due to consistent minor breaches. Doesn't keep his word, doesn't do what he said he's going to do. He's always working late. You can't put your hand on it, but you don't trust him anymore. Honesty goes hand in hand with trust. A relationship where partners can't be honest with each other is likely heading towards a crisis. Finding yourself or your partner frequently lying or hiding the truth suggests a lack of respect for the relationship and each other. Honest conversations, even if they are uncomfortable, are fundamental to maintaining a healthy relationship. A pattern of dishonesty, especially when it leads to repeated disappointment or hurt, could also signal that it's time to reassess the relationship. The bottom line, while the above can also be common signs of relationship heading towards a breakup, it's important to understand that these signs can vary from relationship to relationship. And some relationships, this could be how a partner operates. You've got to know. The important thing is change. If all of a sudden things were hunky-dory and then it starts to change, then, these are some breakup signs. But if your partner constantly does all these different things from the very beginning, you might have been an emotionally unavailable partner. It doesn't always mean that it's going to end. But so you, be aware and understand what we're talking about. So if you notice these signs suddenly occurring, consider having an open conversation with your partner about your feelings. Professional help like couples counseling can also be sought if parties are willing to work on the relationship. The most crucial takeaway from this conversation is to recognize one's self-worth and prioritize personal happiness. Every relationship has its share of ups and downs, but a persistent feeling of unhappiness might indicate that it's time to reconsider the relationship. But like everything in life, there's ups and downs. I've been through several marriages where sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But the important thing is communication. The important thing is keeping the love and the trust strong. And if there's something that you don't like, then you talk about it. But if you continue to see one or two or three of these signs, just have it in your mind that maybe there are signs that the relationship is coming to a conclusion. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. If you're listening to us on iTunes, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we'd love for you to hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, and also subscribe. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, namaste.